Discipline is that exact moment when you feel totally drained, like your energy's gone, but somehow you dig deep inside and get the job done. Motivation helps, sure, but not forever. Sometimes it just leaves you halfway, and that gap motivation leaves, only one thing can fill it: discipline. Discipline isn't some weird, impossible thing. Everyone can have it. Most people just don't feel like putting in the effort. Your mind usually says, whatever, take a break. Don't go to the gym today. Skip work tonight. But the truth is, discipline is like a muscle. Train it, it gets strong. Ignore it, it gets weak. The tricky part is, things like willpower, habits, or discipline, we can't really see them. Since they're invisible, we think they're fixed. We think, this is just who I am and there's no changing them. Meanwhile, the worst life, that's the one of someone with zero control, zero boundaries for themselves. What does being undisciplined get you in the end? No fit body, no money, no progress. Anyone who wants to move forward needs at least some personal discipline. For me, it's always been this question: what am I willing to give up to find my true self, to become a better version of me? And the answer? Whatever it takes. Between what you dream of and what you actually get, there's a bridge. And that bridge is discipline. It means pushing through the hard stuff, delays, distractions, negative people, still moving forward, still persisting, doing something even when you don't feel like it, like you love it. That's discipline. Okay, now let's get to the main point. There are 3 key things about discipline that I'll explain more in the next part. But just know this: if you stick to these 3, you can almost achieve any goal. Tip number 1, get enough sleep and plan the night before. If you're tired, no matter how hard you try, you won't stay disciplined. If you don't know what you're doing tomorrow, the day just slips away. So the first step is simple: sleep well and know ahead of time what you're going to do tomorrow. Sleep is a huge part of life. It's like hitting the reset button, setting your mind, focus, and mood for the next day. We literally can't talk about focus, motivation, mood, or feeling good if our sleep is off. The funny thing is, the quality of the stuff you do during the day directly affects your sleep at night. So good sleep actually starts the moment you open your eyes in the morning. When you sleep right, your day goes better. And when your days go better, your whole life moves. Here's the reality. If most nights, say like 80% of the time, you're not getting enough deep sleep, you're living below your true potential. And the worst part of not sleeping enough, your focus drops. Learning gets harder. Your immune system weakens. Basically, your body and brain start lagging. Now, how much sleep do you actually need? Some say 6 hours, some 7, some 8, but the real deal is, wake up in the morning without fighting the alarm and feel genuinely charged. All right, let's move to tip number 2, time blocking your day, especially mornings. It's simple, but it makes a world of difference. It's not about making some endless to-do list. It's about giving your day a direction. How do your mornings usually start? For me, it goes like this. I wake up, try to get some natural light in the first few hours, whatever time counts as morning for you. Then I drink water and do my best to stay away from my phone, email, or social media. I start with a few important tasks first. I also set a personal rule. Every day I do one hard mental task and one tough physical task. It gets my brain into deep focus mode. I feel like my perspective sharpens. Because if I skip that, virtual distractions and people's chatter stick to me until noon and steal my whole day. You don't have to finish everything right then, but I like starting and moving a challenging task forward. It feels amazing to beat a tough task.
I've noticed that between 6 a.m. and around 12 p.m., my brain and body are at peak performance. So I call this my first block of the day. Sometimes I wake at 6, sometimes 7 or 8, usually 6:30. I treat these few hours as golden time. The second block starts after lunch and runs until about 5 or 6 p.m. The third block goes from then until bedtime, usually around 10:30 p.m., though it's not always exact. One thing I've realized is I can usually only have deep focus in 2 out of these 3 blocks, not all 3. Also, if I exercise early in the first block, say between 6 and 9 a.m., both that block and the second one go great. But if I push exercise to 9 or 10, it's like half the day is already lost. It might have something to do with meal timing, but the only thing that changed was the exercise hour. Everything else stayed the same.
So I figured out, each day I can really use just 2 of the 3 key blocks. And for me, that's the best model. I'm not saying do it exactly like me. I'm saying find your own body and brain rhythm. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. like some people do, but you do need to block your day and figure out when you're most productive. All right, let's get to the last and probably the most important point. Do not skip this one. You've got to learn how to be emotionally mature. And one of the best ways to build that maturity is to make yourself do something hard every single day. Basically, step into discomfort on purpose and build your capacity to handle it. There's a famous line that says, an immature person looks for motivation to do a hard thing once, but a mature person with discipline does a hard thing 1,000 times. Why is emotional maturity so tied to motivation and discipline? Because when you're emotionally mature, you understand that life isn't always perfect. Some nights you don't sleep well. Some days, everything's organized and smooth. And some days, absolutely nothing goes right. But a mature person shows up anyway, good day or bad day, and keeps stacking small wins. But someone who isn't emotionally mature says things like, I didn't sleep well, so I'm not going today. Or, it's cold, the weather sucks, I'm not in the mood. That means your feelings are in charge, not your mind. And when your feelings tell you don't do it, you just go, okay. That's exactly how you drift off your path without even noticing. So you've got to understand how your brain works. When you push yourself into hard things, you're literally building your brain. Your capacity for discipline, resilience, and consistency grows.
Most people don't know this, but there's a part of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Here's the crazy part. Studies show that when people do things they don't want to do, but they know they should, like adding a few hours of exercise a week, this part of the brain actually gets bigger. Some scientists even think this area isn't just the willpower center, but maybe the center of the will to keep living. And here's the real message. This part of your brain can be built. But just like you can strengthen it, you can also weaken it fast if you avoid discomfort and walk away from tough things. That's exactly what Goggins always talks about. Do the thing you don't want to do, but you know you need to do. For example, if you love cold water and you go from 1 minute to 10 minutes, nothing really happens to that part of your brain. But if you hate cold water, if you're scared of going in, and despite the fear, you step in and stay in, that's when your brain actually grows. The power is right there. I don't want to, but I'm doing it anyway. A lot of people tell me, you have insane willpower. But the truth is, this stuff is built. You don't get born with it. If you don't have that will, you lose. But if you do, nothing can stop you. For me, it was simple. Do I keep going or not? If they said, get back in the water, okay. If they said, put the log on your shoulder, okay. If they said, carry the boat on your head, okay. Nothing else mattered.
I wasn't the fastest, not the strongest, not the smartest, but I knew one thing: I can work hard.
and I had to work hard. Life goes up and down. There's pain, injury, sweat, and sometimes even failure and frustration. But I keep doing one thing, moving forward. There is no exit, only forward. And the biggest lesson I learned is this: go straight through all the annoying stuff. Not big challenges, not major tragedies, just the little things that irritate you, but you still have to push through. At the end of the day, the question is simple. Do you want it or not? Most people quit, but they never call it quitting. They call it excuses. My leg hurt, the weather was bad, conditions weren't right. But the truth is, excuses destroy you. Anything you wanted, if excuses enter the game, is gone. Excuses might make you feel better for a moment, but they won't make your life better. When you finally realize that it's all on me, it hurts, but it's unbelievably empowering. Because if the problem is you, then the power to fix it is also you. When I was a kid, I always had this dream in my head. I wanted to be a certain kind of soldier, the kind you'd call a commando. So naturally, all the toys I collected were those little plastic soldiers. I had all kinds of units, but the one that always fascinated me was the British Commandos. Those little figures had weapons, boats, even tiny inflatable rafts. And I'd look at them and think, one day, I want to actually do this stuff for real. By the time I was around 12 or 13, I realized this wasn't just a fantasy. You could actually grow up and do something like that. The closest path I found was joining the Navy and trying out for the SEAL teams.
You might ask, what exactly is a Navy SEAL? SEALs are basically the Special Operations Force of the U.S. Navy. Their training program has one of the lowest pass rates. Only about 20% make it all the way through. And if you're under 20 years old, that number drops to around 5%. I was one of the few who made it through at a young age. One of the toughest parts of the whole process is a phase they call Hell Week. And trust me, they called it that for a reason. 5.5 days with almost no sleep, brutal physical pressure, constant stress, persistent pain, and watching people quit one after another. Most people who drop out do it during Hell Week, almost 80%. The whole point of that phase is to push you right to the edge of breaking. If you have a weak spot, they'll find it. If you're a great swimmer but running destroys you, they'll attack that spot. If you're a fast runner but your swimming sucks, that becomes your torture. If you hate the cold, if you hate the boat on your head, if you react badly to pressure, they'll push that exact spot over and over until you either break through it or break because of it. One of the exercises they're known for is called surf torture. Everybody lines up, arms linked, and together you walk into the ocean for a long time, long enough for your body to start shaking from the cold. Then they pull you out, line you up, and a medic checks to see if anyone is showing signs of hypothermia. If everyone's still technically fine, they simply say, "Get back in the water." And this cycle repeats again and again. People sometimes ask me if I had some special natural ability for this, or if anyone can become like this. Honestly, I don't think you can teach this stuff completely from zero. But if you have even a small spark inside you, you can grow it, feed it, and turn it into something real. You see the same thing in prisoners of war. Some people have this wild force inside them, almost like a voice saying, "I'm not dying here, I'm staying alive." And that mindset alone keeps them going. And some people, when they don't have that inner fire, you can actually see them slowly give up. Imagine what kind of hell a person must go through to reach a point where they say to themselves, "I don't want to keep going anymore. I'm just going to let this be the end." And yes, humans can reach that point, but just like we can collapse, we can also rise. We can fight. We can continue. There was a man going through a really tough time. His job was about to end, his marriage was falling apart, and in the middle of all this chaos, he didn't know what to do. Here's the example I gave him. Imagine you're stuck in the middle of a forest, exactly where he was. You don't know which way is right, everything around you is uncertain, your partner isn't by your side, your resources are gone, and there's no guide to help you. The solution? Start moving. If you stand still and don't take a step, your view will never get clearer. Only when you move, your perspective shifts, your mind opens up, and you can see the path better. Take a step. Even if it's the wrong one, you can always adjust your path later. But if you stay there doing nothing, you're basically waiting for life to leave you behind. Waiting for death, hunger, or failure. Don't let that happen. When you learn to frame challenges the right way, for example, seeing a work problem as a chance to build a better team, or a personal issue as an opportunity for growth, those things that once seemed terrifying turn into positive, constructive parts of who you are. You're forced to go through them, and in the end, you come out stronger. And when all the excuses are gone, and you finally face the truth, it's all on me. It might hurt at first, but then you find complete freedom, because now you're in control of your life and your path, and that feeling is incredible.